I realize that many Americans have grown nervous about reform. So tonight I want to address some of the key controversies that are still out there. Some of people's concerns have grown out of bogus claims spread by those whose only agenda is to kill reform at any cost. The best example is the claim made not just by radio and cable talk show hosts, but by prominent politicians, that we plan to set up panels of bureaucrats with the power to kill off senior citizens. Now, such a charge would be laughable if it weren't so cynical and irresponsible. It is a lie, plain and simple.
I think we have to have rules that say that we are going to provide good quality care. And end-of-life care is one of the most difficult sets of decisions that we're going to have to make. And end-of-life care is one of the most difficult sets of decisions that we're going to have to make. We don't always make those decisions explicitly. We often make those decisions by just letting people run out of money or making the deductibles so high or the out-of-pocket expenses so onerous that they just can't afford the care.
Now, there are also those who claim that our reform efforts would ensure illegal immigrants. This, too, is false. The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally. It's not true.
And joining me now from Washington for an exclusive interview is the man that has everyone talking, South Carolina Congressman Joe Wilson. Congressman, welcome back. Thanks for being on the program. Appreciate it.
Well, Sean, it's an honor to be with you.
All right, so look, you've already explained. I don't really think we need to cover old ground here. You've explained that you're sorry. You spoke out. It was an emotional moment. And it's all squared away with the White House?
They were very gracious in accepting my apology and said, let's get on to discuss the issues, and that's what we need to be doing.
Well, I want to go. That's exactly what I want to do. Now, the president said in his speech last night, these are facts. Nobody disputes them. Now, I could name 5 things off the top of my head. The issue of whether or not illegals are covered, whether or not this covers abortion is another one, whether or not Medicare is cut, what the meaning of end-of-life counseling is, and the costs. So let's start with the one that made you speak out about immigration. Are illegal immigrants covered in this bill?
In fact, they could get the insurance, they could get the benefits, they could get the subsidies. And the reason I know this is because I serve on a committee where we considered amendments, and then I followed the amendments on other committees, the Energy and Commerce, on Ways and Means, and I noticed that the Democrats had defeated the amendments that would provide for enforcement and the verification of citizenship. And so when the president said this, I knew what he was saying was not accurate. I do apologize for speaking out, but what was said was not accurate.
Well, let's talk about this, because congressional research, they actually investigated this, and it said, in fact,
yes.
Why don't you tell everybody, in fact, what they found is the direct opposite of what the president said.
And we have the Congressional Research Office, and just last month, in August, they did a study and indicated that there were no restrictions against providing, or not enforceable restrictions, for illegal aliens to fully participate in the programs.
All right. Here's the question, because I read the bill, every page of it. And
I did too.
And your interpretation, I agree with Congressional Research Office on immigration. I also believe that they've come up with a sneaky way to fund abortions, although they're denying it. Do you agree with me on abortions and on Medicare cuts?
Well, I do, because when you read the bill, it really doesn't take long, because you can see that you have the Health Choices Administration Commissioner. And this commissioner will have czar-like powers and could do virtually anything they wanted to do, including abortion coverage.
Yeah, well, and that's the point. And the same thing is, I find it unbelievable, and I want to ask you about the cost factor, because the president made promises about costs. How do you insure all these people? And how do you tell the American people that they'll keep their insurance? I don't believe any of those things will be true. Your interpretation.
Well, we've already seen through cash for clunkers that this administration misses by a factor of $3 billion. They just did not get the numbers correctly. The same thing's going to occur where you'll have an overwhelming of the health care system, and instead of a delay getting a car, people will be delayed getting a health care.
Yeah. I want to go back to this issue that came up, this sanctimony, this feigned outrage over your comments, you know, this phony civility now that the Democrats are all involved in here. We watched an entire summer where prominent Democrats attacked, you know, stay-at-home moms and grandmothers and veterans at town halls. We know Harry Reid once referred to the president of the United States as a liar and a loser. And we know the Democrats, I'll roll this tape, they also booed George W. Bush. And I want to ask you about the double standard, but first let's roll this tape.
By the year 2042, the entire system would be exhausted and bankrupt. If steps are not taken to avert that outcome, the only solutions would be dramatically higher taxes, massive new borrowing, or sudden and severe cuts in Social Security benefits or other government programs. I recognize that 2018 and 2042 may seem a long way off, but those days aren't so distant.
Harry Reid, for example, on his comment about calling the president a liar and loser, was on Meet the Press and asked to apologize and rescind those remarks. He didn't. Do you think there's a double standard, Congressman?
There really is, and particularly with Senator Reid, he even indicates it was in a book. I truly am humbled that I respect the president. I respect the office of the president. But I believe that they do have a double standard. And I'm ready to discuss the issue of health care and really make a difference.
Well, maybe
for limited government.
Maybe the president will invite you to the White House for a beer. I know that the left has targeted you, Congressman, and yes. I have a link on my website for those that want to support you on Hannity.com. So we appreciate you being here. Thank you for being with us.
Well, honored to be with you. Thank you.
I won't stand by while the special interests use the same old tactics to keep things exactly the way they are. If you misrepresent what's in this plan, we will call you out. Now, you should want a leader who can tell the truth, even when it's not convenient.